Hello and welcome to another episode of Buyer Fireside Chat here at Global Sources. I'm your host Meghla Bhardwaj, and today we are talking about Omnichannel e-commerce. I have three guests with me, and let's start introducing them one by one. So first of all, we have Jason Tay. Hi Jason, how's it going?
Hello, Magla. Going as well as can be expected, I guess.
That's good. And then we also have Mikhail Chapnik from Selling on Walmart. Hi Mikhail.
Hi, Magla. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Great.
And we
Thank you
have
for inviting
Nicole.
me.
Most welcome. And we have Nicole Whitlock from Ecom Sellers Academy. Hi, Nicole.
Hey, how are you guys doing? Good to see everybody.
Good to see you all too. Thanks a lot for joining us over here. So, our topic today is very interesting. I think this is something that a lot of e-commerce sellers, entrepreneurs are very interested in, but also a lot of brands are talking about multi-channel e-commerce and diversifying their e-commerce platforms and their channels. So, very interesting topic today. So, let's get started. First of all, with introductions, and I also want you guys to let us know what sort of changes have you experienced in either your own businesses or your clients' businesses, or just general trends that you've been seeing in the last few months? I mean, of course, 2020 has been a very transformational year for e-commerce. Just really quickly, I want each of you to, first of all, give an introduction, tell us about yourself, and then also tell us some of the trends that you've been seeing. So I'm going to go with Jason first, because you're right at the top on my screen here.
Okay. So I've been selling online since about 2013, started on Amazon, then moved on to my own website as well, and then added eBay after and now several other marketplace channels as well in Singapore. Yep. So that's what I do.
And what sort of trends have you seen, Jason, in the e-commerce space?
Wow, I guess the big one is that with COVID-19 and lockdowns, a lot more people have been shopping online. Even my 80-some-year-old mother has started buying stuff online, right? So that's the big overall trend where online sales have accelerated by maybe several years. So I guess more people are interested to sell online at the moment as well, and businesses have that opportunity, especially to expand internationally, cross-border, using the internet as infrastructure for that.
Right. Mikhail, what about you? Give an introduction first and then tell us about some of the trends that you're seeing.
Sure, yeah. So I'm selling online since 2011. So I started on eBay and Amazon in 2011, and Amazon was just amazing at that time. It was just really nice. It was not a lot of sellers like today. There's millions of sellers today. So it was really easy and nice. And then a couple years after that, I started my own website. And more than 3 years ago, I started selling on Walmart. And in 2020, I started giving more attention to Walmart as the opportunity there started growing so much. So 2020 was a blessing year, in e-commerce for all of us, especially with the pandemic. We have millions of new shoppers. Everybody's now know how to shop online, like your mom and your grandma, and everybody's there. So the trend that I saw in the e-commerce is, I think all the channels are really growing. If you look at the percentage of their growth from 2019 to 2020, you see it's huge. You see those graphs going really high with all the e-commerce out there, especially Walmart. Walmart is the winner, I think, of all with the growth. He officially became number 2 e-commerce in the US. So people are not ignoring it anymore. So I'm excited about that. So I see a lot of growth in people having their own website. Even small channels are growing really good. People making good money in website like Etsy. So I see a lot of more categories coming in, and again, a lot of shoppers. So it seems like it was, I think 2020 was like really like a bomb for e-commerce in a good way.
Yeah, I guess we're all in the right industry at the right time. Awesome. Thanks for that, Mikal. Nicole, what about you? So first of all, give us an introduction and then tell us about some of the trends that you're seeing.
All right, so my name is Nicole Whitlock, and I am the creator and co-founder of all things Ecom Seller. So we own Ecom Seller Summit, which is a summit that we host every February of the year. Then we host Ecom Q4 Summit that's going to be coming up in August. Both of these are online e-commerce conferences where we invite different speakers in different categories, because we talk about all things and everything e-commerce related. We're not focused on any one platform. And then I also am the owner of Ecom Sellers Academy and Ecom Sellers Mastery. So the trend that we are seeing is that, one, we already knew about the statistical data around the number of sellers and also the number of buyers. So buying went up. I believe the first set of statistics were around March, that online buying went up by about 74%, and then it continued to go inch up a little bit more in March and then April. We also saw a trend last year, and it's still sort of a transition for sellers, that sellers were a little frustrated about the fact that if they were sending their inventory into Amazon, it was being held hostage because of the fact that Amazon was like, if your product is not in these categories, it is going to sit there until we can get around to it. So around the end of probably middle of May, people's inventory started loosening up, started getting sold, started seeing some traction. But the one thing that we started noticing at the end of March, beginning of April, is that sellers were starting to get hip to the fact that they need to figure out this fulfillment FBM. So if they had to figure that out so they could get their inventory out of hostage. And the second thing was that they had to figure out how to diversify. They needed to be on more platforms to get more traction. So we saw a lot of sellers to learn how to do Amazon, wanting to learn how to do Facebook Marketplace, sellers trying to figure out alternative solutions, especially with the shipping here in the U.S. We had some challenges throughout the year with USPS. So just sellers starting to pivot in different directions because of the fact they had to get smart about how they ran their business. They didn't want to be held hostage. They knew the opportunity was out there. They wanted to get as many sales as possible. So those are the two big things, that people were buying online because they were forced to, and that people were comfortable with the fact of buying online. So they continued. A significant number of people have continued to enjoy the convenience of buying online. And then the other side of that is sellers figuring out that you better either pivot it, you better figure it out, or otherwise you're not going to get the kind of sales that other sellers might be getting. So they started learning other platforms.
Right, and that sort of brings me to my next question, Nicole. Of course, Amazon is sort of the behemoth, and it's the one channel where the majority of online sales happens. But it is important for sellers and brands to diversify, right?
Yep.
And why do you think that it's so important, especially going into 2021, and given the lessons that we've learned in 2020, why is it important for sellers and brands to diversify now?
Well, because of the fact that, again, buyers are going to continue to buy online. They've enjoyed the convenience, so it is something that it may not stay at the peak that it got in March, April, and May, but there's going to be some people that are going to, because they were introduced to it, they're going to continue to buy online. That's a reality. And so because of that fact, there's more opportunity for people who decide that they want to become entrepreneurs and begin, creating a business, an online business selling products. The other side of that is that because of that, the demand is still high. So the opportunity exists. And so sellers had to realize that if I don't figure out what it is that people want and need, like right now, consumables or replenishables they've been hot for the last 12 months, like super duper hot. If you were selling anything that people had to buy on a regular basis, then you were having steady sales. Like you were probably like, okay, I'm out of inventory, because it was just going through it. But the other side of that is also figuring out that if I want to make money, if I want to continue to be a successful seller, I have got to figure out some of these other platforms and how I can make these platforms work for me so I can continue to get paid.
Right, totally makes sense. And of course, replenishables, we are not only talking about toilet paper, right? There's so many others, but that was a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost our minds here in the US with the toilet paper.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Mikhail, what about you? So, what do you tell sellers? Why do you think it's important to diversify their channels?
Yes, so what I hear all the time, problem I having for many, many years, and problem that almost every seller will face it in some point is the issues that Amazon is making, mention new rules, categories you need to get approval, IP claims. There's tons and tons of issues that sellers are dealing daily, and that's what make a lot of sellers to look for another platform. Sometimes it's really sad that somebody loses account to go and start the account, in a different channel. So I'm telling everybody, make sure you're where is the customer is at, especially for the most important is if you're private labeling. If you're selling private labeling your own brands, you want to be everywhere. You want to sell it in all the channels because yes, it's true. Amazon have millions of shoppers, but there's the other half of millions of shoppers. They're just all over the web. So you want to be everywhere and make sure to create your brand awareness and just to be everywhere the shopper is at.
Right, makes sense. So Jason, let's talk about Asia and Australia specifically. You're from Singapore and you're currently in Australia, so you have a good understanding of that market as well. So what sort of trends are you seeing in terms of omni-channel e-commerce here in Asia and Australia?
Wow. I think you have to sort of split Asia into like two big camps. So one is China and then everything else outside of China.
Yeah, for sure.
So everything in China is like a whole different ball game because like there's not just a physical Great Wall, there's an actual like Great Firewall. So maybe we'll skip that. I think then the other two huge marketplaces or several huge ones are Japan, India, and of course Southeast Asia as a block of 10, 12 countries with like 600 million in population and one of the fastest growing in terms of consumer spending over the next decade probably. And so I think that's a huge opportunity, and we've seen like many big players like Alibaba's come in, acquired Lazada, which was a Southeast Asian kind of online marketplace for $1 billion a few years ago. And then you have Shopee. Shopee is the fastest growing marketplace in Southeast Asia at the moment. I think they're listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and if you invested in their stock before the pandemic, you'd be making like 4 or 5 times already. So they are growing extremely quickly. We also see some of the other like older players in the Southeast Asian marketplace like Q10, that's QOO and then number 10. That's actually majority or the biggest shareholder is probably eBay. So it's essentially like eBay Korea. So these are like some of the big players in the Southeast Asian e-com space. Shopify has also jumped into Southeast Asia. So like they have a representative office for the region in Singapore. And who else? Facebook also has a regional HQ in Singapore for that. So Facebook Marketplace can be an interesting sort of outlier kind of player as well, I guess. And in terms of Australia, I think my feel is that Australians do not like Amazon. So the attitude would be like Amazon's this big American company, like foreign thing coming, trying to grab some market share, and we want to support local. So that's the feel towards Amazon in general in Australia. I don't have the statistics, but I think eBay would have a bigger share in Australia than Amazon. And Yeah, so that's overall the big picture, and I guess the point of all that is that there are opportunities on multiple channels. And if I always use this example, every channel that you're on and every keyword that you can rank for, whether it's on various marketplaces or your own website on a Google search, everywhere you rank for and your product can be found. That's like opening a new store in a new suburb, in a new city, in a new town. So you wanna, and that's essentially like free stores, right? You don't have to like rent or buy a brick and mortar outlet. You simply like populate a web page and boom, you have a new store. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And of course, Amazon is also getting popular here in Singapore. They have, I guess, not recently, but a year and a half ago, they launched over here as well, and they're very slowly gaining traction. Okay, that is cool. So, guys watching, if you have any questions about omni-channel e-commerce, type them in the comments wherever you're watching from, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Our guests over here will be able to answer your questions about selling on Walmart, Shopify, Amazon. Any questions that you have, feel free to type them in the comments. Okay, so Mikhail, let's talk a little bit about Walmart because you specialize in Walmart, of course, and you've been you offer a course and you're sort of the expert of selling on Walmart. So, how big of an opportunity do you think Walmart is for e-commerce sellers and brands, and especially compared to Amazon?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Thank you, for the compliment. I still learn so much every day, but Walmart is definitely the most interesting marketplace, and the fact that he's not ashamed, is very forward about their competing with Amazon. There is a big competition. They're competing the minute Amazon announced 1 day shipping, Walmart announced 1 day shipping, and they have the 2 day shipping, free shipping, and now they have the Walmart Plus that is similar to Prime. And you can even do it just monthly, so it's even better because you don't have to commit for a year. You can do it monthly and get all the benefits of a membership. And Walmart have one advantage that I think is really big, is that they actually have a lot of local stores. They have, I think, more than 5,000 stores all over the US. That's in that way, every person, no matter where you're in the US, there is a store next to you. So if somebody go online, they have the option to go and pick up at the store. So they can go shop and go pick it up, or they can do a pickup. They bring it to your car. Or now with the Plus, whoever have the Walmart Plus, you can get groceries delivered to your door in 2 hours. So that's things that Amazon is almost there. It does have similar options. So I think that's like huge benefit. Another thing that Walmart is growing faster than Amazon. So if in 2019, the growth of Amazon in 2019 was 14% from 2018, was 14% growth. Walmart was 40% growth. Last year, 2020, I think Amazon was more than 40%, but Walmart ended up being 69% growth between 2019 to 2020. So if we look at the graphs, he's going so fast that he's passing everybody. Like and then and he's officially, like I said, they're announced he took eBay down to number 3, and Walmart is number 2 in the e-commerce, like the most traffic, and the most shoppers are coming to Walmart. And Walmart is very strong on social media, on Google. So there is a lot of advantages. That I say, I'm telling sellers all the time, go to Google and search for your product. Most of you are going to be surprised to see that you're going to see an ad for Walmart and you're not going to see Amazon in there. So there is investing more money on Google ads. That's helping the sellers get more traffic. And there's a lot of traffic. There's around average more than 200 millions visitors, unique visitors every month. In April 2020, they even had more than 400 million visitors. So that is millions of people shopping around Walmart. So I'm telling everybody, you want to be there.
Absolutely. I think it sounds like a great opportunity and definitely something that brands and e-commerce sellers should consider. And of course, recently they have opened up to overseas sellers, right? I mean, previously
Yeah.
was you had to be a US entity in order to list on Walmart, but now anybody wherever you are in the world, and that's I think going to have a significant impact on the number of sellers and the number of products that are going to be available on Walmart. So how do you see this announcement, changing the scenario? For example, will there be like an influx of Chinese sellers selling on Walmart suddenly? And what are some of the changes that you expect to see with this announcement?
Yeah. Yes. So the announcement is that they do open for sellers. They're not from the US, but right now they're focusing on actually sellers from China and Hong Kong. So they are focusing on sellers from China. It is going to affect the marketplace because sellers from China can offer a lot of SKUs and better prices. So it will be some changes coming, some more competition. So US sellers, gonna need to adjust to that. But on the other note, Walmart is extremely picky. So you cannot get accepted to Walmart just because you applied. They're gonna check you. They're gonna investigate you very, very good. What are you selling, and your feedback and your experience. So they're very good with what they're doing. So I want to say that an average, maybe 15%, 50% of people applying to Walmart do not get an account.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a big. There's a big numbers, because again they're very, very picky. So I can just hope they're gonna pick the right sellers they're not from the US, but any person, even if you from any country in the world, Walmart will give you an opportunity, but you have to have your business registered in the US. So they do open up for sellers. They're not from the US, but you have to have a company that is registered in the US. So that's very, very important. So you need to have an EIN and an address in the US to apply.
Okay, so those requirements have not gone
Mhm.
away. Is that
No.
correct?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
You
Right.
just
So you don't
the
necessarily have
owner
to have a.
doesn't. Yeah, the owner doesn't have to be a resident of the US, but the company have to be registered in the US.
Okay. And can you just have like an EIN as an overseas company and an address, or you actually have to register a company in the US?
So every person can register his business in the US. It's very simple. Every online seller can register their business in the US and get a US address.
Okay. Okay, great.
Right? I think Nicole know more about that. So
Yeah, that's the
we conversation
EIN.
fast. Yeah. You need to yeah.
EIN,
There's a
right?
lot
So
of
you need to get an EIN.
services. Yeah, you can just Google a service, register like a foreign company register in the US service. There's a lot of companies that they will do everything for you. So you just contact them, and they're gonna help you set up your business in the US.
Right. Totally makes sense. And Mikhail, also, what are some of the strategies you think are important for sellers and brands to be successful on Walmart?
Yes, that's a good question. I love this question. So yes, so again, there's so much traffic and so many shoppers on Walmart. So if you have the right products, you're gonna sell it so fast organically because there is no competition. There's a lot of sellers. So I see it I see it all the time. People just start on Walmart and they're selling, making a lot of money without advertising or anything. But if you do have private label or you're in a very competitive category, So Walmart do have sponsor ads similar to PPC, and they do have all kind of other tools. And the biggest tip I can give somebody right now coming into Walmart is Walmart expecting sellers to create a unique listing. So that means don't copy paste everything from Amazon. Follow the guidelines, optimize your listing to Walmart, not to Amazon. Because if your listing is very good on Amazon, it's optimized for Amazon. It's not optimized for Walmart. It's not optimized for Google. So make sure you do your best work on your listing. And again, using the sponsors ads, and all kind of free promotion that Walmart will give you. So again, Walmart will display you on Google Ads if you optimize right, and Walmart give you all kind of way to create like tags that gonna help your listing catch more eyes when customer is browsing, and those are all free to you. So just use those benefits that Walmart give you.
Right. In terms of product categories, which specific categories are doing better on Walmart nowadays?
So Walmart is, people go to Walmart and they know Walmart is the place to get everything. So a lot of categories are really, really good. Um, I think Amazon is very strong on electronics, is stronger than Walmart on electronics. But some categories that I see that people are very successful is category like home, everything home, garden, clothing. Clothing is very good. We have graphs of the growth, and you see the biggest growth category they had in 2020 was actually video games. Everything
Oh,
related to video games was the most growing category. Beauty category is growing. Um, Pets is growing very nice. So again, all the most general categories, with the basic stuff that everybody need, those categories are doing very good.
right. Jason, are you planning to sell on Walmart? I guess a couple of your brands would be pretty good for Walmart.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, you should probably get in touch with Mikhail. Okay, awesome. So that was about Walmart, a really strong competitor to Amazon, and wouldn't be surprised if, in the coming few years, it will be equally as important as Amazon. Okay, so let's go on to another marketplace that's sort of coming up. And Nicole, we're going to talk to you now. So you, of course, specialize in Shopify, but recently you've also been talking about Facebook Marketplace. So tell us about Facebook Marketplace and sort of give us an overview of Facebook Marketplace as an e-commerce platform. How important of an opportunity is this for brands, and what kinds of sellers and products will be successful, and how to get started in Facebook Marketplace? I guess I have so many questions.
Well, Facebook Marketplace is, in some ways, for the U.S., Facebook Marketplace is like a replacement for Craigslist. So a lot of people got started in the early days using Craigslist and selling whatever. And so now Facebook Marketplace has become it. But the great thing about Facebook Marketplace initially, it started off sort of like, I think originally like Facebook garage sale groups. And then it evolved to this marketplace where people could sell products. And now they've got, the shipping has been in place, I think, for about 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 years. Not before, it was previously exclusive to, certain sellers. And so now it's opened up to everybody. So you can sell globally if you want to on Facebook Marketplace, but you definitely are going to, the US market has like over 80 million visitors that come to Facebook in a month and kind of go through and peruse Facebook Marketplace. So you can sell anything that you want to. And right now, the big popular thing is drop shipping using Facebook Marketplace, drop shipping home goods, things go in your home and things like that, because you can take those pictures and swipe them from a site if you've got a great drop shipping supplier, and then list it on Facebook Marketplace. The other thing is that Facebook Marketplace does not have a lot of fees, whereas any of the other platforms, you got fees and things you have to deal with. It is low fees, but the shipping is not low. So you have to be prepared for that. You're going to pay you're going to pay whatever you're going to pay. So if you've got accounts like ShipStation or whatever set up, then you'll be able to at least get some decent rates and not have to pay, extremely high rate. Facebook Marketplace does take a little bit to pay you when you're first getting started. So your first payment, and it's similar to the same way it is on Walmart as well. Like your first 3 weeks or so, you're like, no money yet. But I will tell you that returns are lower on Facebook Marketplace, which is good, and the fees are lower. And I think that's the thing that a lot of sellers love is that, oh my gosh, like I have these opportunities. If you got private label products, it's a great platform to sell on. If you have things around your house, if you're getting things through liquidation and you've got like storage in your house, like my house is a hot mess. So if you got inventory where you can take pictures and list it, you can still make money and ship those items as well. So you can do a lot of contactless shipping. And as far as the other, like outside of the US markets, I know Facebook Marketplace Canada is doing great. I don't know a lot about the other countries. We're starting to learn about the other countries, meaning what does it look like for them? Because Facebook is global, like it is global. And so whether or not all of the marketplaces in all of the countries in which people can access Facebook, if those are all up, I don't know yet. But we're working on like trying to research that information to find out. But it's definitely up in the US, it's definitely up in Canada. And I believe that there are a few other countries where you can see a marketplace little icon and actually get to it and then be able to sell your products.
Right. And how seamless is the shopping experience on Facebook? Because I remember at least over here in Singapore, it's not very seamless. You have to contact the seller and ask them if the product is available. And then, you can't make the payment online via Facebook instantly. So it's still a bit clunky, the process. But what about in the US? Is it a seamless process where you just click on the product and pay for it? And it's still, yeah.
Yeah, it is fairly seamless. You can click on it to just buy. For those, some people just will put up a single listing. So then, you'll get a notification that somebody has bought it, and you need to go ahead and update the information in Facebook so that they know. But they can use their PayPal to pay. They can use their if they set up Facebook Pay, like they can use that to pay. So it's really easy to pay using Facebook Marketplace. And again, the way that we have, or at least again, I'm still learning about the other countries because we're building documentation. We've already built documentation for the US and for Canada. So we're still building out the documentation for the other countries. But I know that when we go in and look at payments, like it's easy to connect your PayPal, connect your Stripe, connect whatever you're using. And it's easy for people to pay using their credit card. And then it's also easy for me as a seller to get paid because I can connect my bank account and just get automatic direct deposit. So the transactions are fairly easy. They do have that whole, you can message the buyer. So if you have additional questions, maybe the information's not in the listing, you have additional questions, you can contact the buyer, but you also just have the option to just buy.
Okay, that's good. And what sort of products are doing well on Facebook Marketplace?
Well, so there's a lot of things right now, but so this is Autism Awareness Month. So I know that there's a lot of stuff that's being sold, like t-shirts and things, mugs and stuff like that, because of the fact that it's Autism Awareness Month. So anything that's a trend, people throw that up in a Facebook Marketplace very quickly. And so that is what this month happens to be. April is Autism Awareness Month. The other thing, people are getting ready for Mother's Day. She got Mother's Day stuff. But a lot of what I'm seeing is people are throwing up stuff from for furniture or home goods, lamps, things like that they can drop ship to a customer. And then the other thing that I'm seeing is people that are trying to get rid of their inventory, they're throwing it up on Facebook Marketplace. So if Amazon made them pull their inventory back, they are literally, okay, let's go get it listed. They're not only just putting it on Facebook Marketplace, they're putting it on Poshmark, Mercari, so they're putting it on some of the other platforms as well. And the great thing is that there's a lot of tools now where you can do cross-listing. So you can cross-list your inventory if you've got it up on Facebook Marketplace. You can go cross-list it on eBay. You can go cross-list it on other platforms like Shopify. If you've got a Shopify store, you can go cross-list it on Poshmark or Mercari. Like there's all these great tools that are out there. Vendu, List Perfectly, that will allow you to cross-list. There's not a lot, well, there are some, where you can cross list onto Poshmark Mercari and also, Amazon and Walmart. So Ecom Dash, I know, is one of them, will let you list on from Shopify, Walmart, and Amazon. Whereas, some of the other, I won't say different level tools like List Perfectly, they don't do the whole integration, Amazon, Walmart, and Facebook Marketplace. So there's different tools so you can cross list, get more traffic to your listings, and be able to get more sales, like move your inventory.
Okay, awesome. So Facebook Marketplace is definitely a platform that we need to keep an eye on, and hopefully in other parts of the world, it's going to be
expanding.
We
know it's expanding. Yeah. It is expanding.
Okay.
We're aware of that, but I know that it's not up everywhere that Facebook is available. That I do.
Right. Okay, awesome. And Nicole, you also talk a lot about Shopify, right? So where do you see Shopify heading in 2021? What are some of the trends that you see, for Shopify sellers?
Well, in 2020, Shopify announced that they were coming for Amazon. Okay, and they were building, they were building partnerships everywhere that they could build them. So the same thing, they built a partnership with Walmart. They have a partnership, with Walmart and TikTok. Shopify and TikTok, Walmart and TikTok. Like, they're trying to build partnerships everywhere. So Shopify, I believe, is going to continue that trend of helping sellers get their items listed. There were a lot of businesses that were almost about to die in the U.S. and around the world, and they built a Shopify store that they could try and save their business, especially when people weren't able to go out to stores and do shopping. So they had to move their businesses online very quickly. So Shopify made that transition for some companies very seamless, so that they could get up and get running fast, and then continue to make money, because that was the challenge in 2020. So they had a massive increase in the number of Shopify stores that were built in 2020 because of that.
Right.
I think they're going to continue to try and be the supporter of small business. They're going to continue to try and be the supporter of business growth and expansion. They're going to continue to try and help people to be able to sell their products, get better at selling their products, because they definitely want to be the platform that people come to when they're frustrated with Amazon. They want to be the platform people come to be able to list their products, and they want to teach people how to drive traffic to their listings on their Shopify stores, or how to build better Shopify stores. And they also have, of course, the Shopify Marketplace, where you can actually buy a pre-built store if you wanted to, and then all you have to do is just load up your inventory. So they're giving sellers a lot more tools and tips to be successful on their platform.
And I guess one of the biggest benefits of having your own Shopify store is that you own the customer. And whereas if you're selling on Amazon or any marketplace, they're not your customers. You're just sort of renting an email list or a customer list. It's a huge advantage for Shopify for sure. Okay.
Absolutely.
And what about things like curbside shopping? Are you seeing that as a growing trend where, people sort of place orders online and then just go collect it from the store? Is that a trend that you're seeing that's getting popular?
Yeah, well, we've seen a lot of that with Walmart, because that's what we teach, especially when the pandemic hit. We were teaching people, if they were doing retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, to go place their orders online and then just go pick it up. We're also seeing, in addition to that, so, your grocery stores have it, your Walmart, your Target, everybody has like a drive up, even Best Buy here in the US. So you can drive up, you can place your order, drive up, somebody will bring it to you, so you can have a touchless contact and get your inventory. But the other thing that we're seeing is some more pop-up shops. So people are acquiring inventory, especially with companies that have gone out of business. And so you'll see these, I would call them the back of trucks, but they're not really the back of trucks. But you'll see these pop-up shops where people will have a pop-up boutique, or they'll have a pop-up whatever, where they've acquired a boatload of inventory, potentially from a liquidator, and they're selling inventory out the back of something, whether it's the back of a big truck, on the side, or whatever. They will get some space. So because of the fact that in 2020, there weren't a lot of trade shows, people had to get creative on how to solve the problem of getting their inventory in front of people. So you might see a little shop pop up in a parking lot where you're at the grocery store. It might be at the back of the parking lot, and they've got a boutique full of whatever it happens to be, women's clothes, kids' toys, whatever it is. And it's because that person, sometimes, not always, has acquired it because of a liquidation, or they were a store that would normally get a lot of traffic, like at a trade show or something, and they couldn't anymore. So the people are getting creative, seeing that.
Yeah, lots of creative ideas. Okay, awesome. So, what about TikTok, Nicole? Any idea, how TikTok is? I know that a lot of the TikTok trends are sort of, you see a trend getting popular on TikTok, and then people going to Amazon to search for those kinds of products that are in the TikTok videos. But as an e-commerce platform, any idea how TikTok is, what plans they have?
Well, I mean, like I said, TikTok created a partnership they have a partnership with Shopify, they have a partnership with Walmart. And so, of course, the goal is to help people to showcase their products. So most people are looking at TikTok because people are doing these dances. My son does them all the time. I'm not going to try to do a dance on here, but people are doing a lot of dances. But then you'll see, depending on which hashtags you're following, people will showcase products. They will. I know a seller right now who just purchased a bunch of purses, earrings, necklace, like jewelry, and accessories from China. And so she comes on the TikTok and she kind of showcases them. And then she puts the little link, in her, her TikTok image. And so that's another way for people to get traffic to them. But again, TikTok driving traffic to Walmart listings and driving traffic to Shopify seller stores. I like that integration. I have not done that yet, but my son loves to do TikTok. So we're opening up his Shopify store at the end of this month. So you'll probably see some TikToks on my page where he's showcasing some clothes and trying to get people to, take an interest. But the great thing about it is you can put your information right there on the page, like you put it on their side, you put it on there whatever way you want to, and it's right there and people can go to it.
That sounds very interesting indeed. Looking forward to seeing more TikTok videos from you, Nicole, or your son.
Or my son. He takes over my channel. People are like, okay. I have to shut some of the people down. I'm like, look, he's a minor. Please stop typing on my page.
Okay, great. So Facebook Marketplace, Shopify, and TikTok, definitely important platforms for e-commerce. Okay, so let's talk about now Amazon. So Jason, let me talk to you about Amazon. And you of course sell on Amazon US, Amazon Singapore, in I think Europe as well. So what sort of shifts are you seeing on Amazon in general? There's of course so much happened in 2020, but what are some of the major trends that you're seeing on Amazon?
Well,
you could spend like 2 hours on that, right?
Well, I personally, for example, I'm dealing with some firefighting with them. So the issue with them is sometimes it's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So for example, I have a strategic account manager, and I'm guessing she's pretty frustrated too. And I've talked to some of their more like business development type departments. So they aggressively and genuinely want to help sellers. But then on the back end, these developers and programmers, they tweak something in the algorithm and boom, it creates all this like ripple effect of problems. So I think the big trend is that they have been tweaking a lot, and it's causing grief, unforeseen grief to a lot of sellers. So to me, that's like the biggest trend. For example, just earlier this week, I think they put up an announcement where they sort of hinted that they are going to be policing more strictly the GTIN issue, the UPC codes. So like previously, it's always been a thing that you're supposed to have insurance if you're selling over $10,000 a month for 3 months in a row. Never actively policed until like a couple of months ago, when some sellers started like receiving 30-day notices. Give us your insurance certificate or else kind of thing. That's fair enough. I mean, but now with the GTIN things, like a lot of sellers have just listed their products, with UPC codes that they got off eBay or something from ABC barcodes or whatever. So now Amazon's sent out a notice, I think on April the 7th, to say that, okay, we actually do require like GS1 barcodes, and the language is very vague, but it sounds rather threatening, ominous. Yep. So that kind of thing. Of course, like I think it's been mentioned by Nicole and Mikhail about the with the pandemic thing, and then like, okay, we're shutting down our inventory receiving, and then till we figure out how things are going to work, kind of thing. So all that's happening. I do see one trend that Amazon is aggressively pursuing is to expand our international footprint. So I often tell people I'm convinced that Amazon is not in Singapore just to sell to the Singapore market. They've never said this, but I think they are in Singapore because it's like a foothold, like Normandy beach landing in World War II, right? It's their foothold into the Southeast Asian market. So in their eyes, I think they want to make sure that Singapore doesn't fail because it's the launch pad to the 600 million people in the region. So those are some overall kind of trends that I see with Amazon. Another thing is, as they've been tweaking the algorithm, it's become quite hard to get seller support to like make any sense. I mean, it's always been hard, but now it's like major hard. And it just send you like run you around endless circles. But nevertheless, it is still like the biggest sales channel when it comes to e-commerce, especially in the US, for example. So I think it's important to not just dismiss it, but don't put all your eggs in the Amazon basket. So do Amazon plus look at all the other opportunities out there. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's why this webinar is probably totally on point. Diversification of channels is really, really important. Okay, we've got one question from Margaret. Hi all. Jason, do you believe with Helium 10 now being available in the Australian marketplace will help sellers? I agree with you about selling here, although there must be some sellers who have been reasonably successful so far. Can't all be bad, surely. So it was just announced this morning that Helium 10 is now available for Amazon Australia. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there is opportunity. So, for example, I'm in Perth, right, in Western Australia, which by some counts is the most isolated city in the world. But Amazon actually does have a fulfillment center, like maybe 15 minutes from where I am. And when I want to buy something that I know is like not really available, let's say locally, or I would go online and search. And since being in Australia, the primary places that I would go to would be I do a Google search and I do a search on Amazon first, because if it's available via Prime shipping, 2-day Prime shipping, then I want to get that. Because most of the other channels, like let's say I go to eBay or some other third party's store, the shipping in Australia isn't that quick. It's going to go by Australia Post, and typically for me that might take like 2 weeks to get here, because like Margaret, where you are, on the East Coast you get stuff really fast, but on the West Coast, like 90% of the stuff is shipping from Victoria or New South Wales or Queensland, and it's going to take a while to get to WA. Yep. So if it's on Amazon, my preference would be to buy from there due to fast shipping. So yeah, I think that is with Helium 10 now having some data from the AU marketplace that can be helpful.
Yeah, we should be able to see what kinds of products are selling and what kind of sales are really happening there. Because what I've been hearing from sellers from Australia is that it's really slow and there's not much traction on Amazon Australia. But yeah, we'll be able to see that now. Okay, awesome. So, and Jason, of course, you sell on your own websites as well. You don't have a Shopify website, but you do WordPress plus WooCommerce, but it's your own website. So, what tips and advice do you have for people who want to set up their own website? Because it's not easy to drive traffic and build a customer list from day one. It definitely takes time and effort to generate traffic for our website. But what are the main ingredients of a successful e-commerce website?
Okay, I think there are 3 pillars that you need to consider. First of all, you need to decide which system you want to use. Technically, it's called a CMS, but whatever. So I think that for anyone wanting to start out your own store, then your 2 main options would be Shopify or WooCommerce. Those would be the 2 easiest to start with. To be honest, like every year I go through this same exercise. Like, do I want to switch my WooCommerce site over to Shopify? And one of the reasons for that is because Shopify has really, like Nicole was saying, they have actively pursued collaboration and connection with, and built a whole ecosystem of apps and with other platforms. So that can be really helpful. I remember like a few years ago, they were the first ones that would integrate with Instagram, which to me back then was, well, that's actually a big deal. So that's option 1, Shopify, or option 2, like WooCommerce. And the reason I stick to WooCommerce is because then I actually really own the thing. Like with Shopify, Shopify still owns the thing. In a sense, like they can shut down your Shopify like bam, just like Amazon can. And I've met people who've had that happen because the algorithm picks up that and then they shut down your store, and there's no recourse. There isn't even an appeal process. So that's the part that I don't like. Nevertheless, I think that's a great opportunity. So number 1, decide on which platform you want to use to build your own website. Number 2, you have to think about fulfillment. How are you going to fulfill orders from your website? And together with that then comes integration, which is the same point. So if you're selling on Amazon, Walmart, let's say, if you're selling in Southeast Asia, let's say on Lazada, which is in Singapore, it's in Indonesia, it's very big in the Philippines, etc. Do you want a platform which has integration, third-party integration available, so that all your orders and inventory can be synced in each region or with the different platforms that you use? And then does that integration also carry over into a fulfillment solution? Like, so for example, when the whole Amazon like restriction on receiving inventory happened last year, that's when I started actively like seeking out. I started using like a third-party fulfillment center. So then that's integrated into my Amazon, my eBay, etc. So number 1, decide on the platform you want to use. Number 2, also consider the integrations, both for the app ecosystem and to be able to market that off multiple channels from your site, as well as to link up with a fulfillment solution. And number 3, what Megla you were talking about, is SEO, or search engine optimization. So if you have your own website, you need it to be found primarily in like Google or Bing search engines. Yahoo is no longer like woohoo. So with SEO, I think if you understand how to rank your products, for example, with some experience with Amazon, then that's helpful. But essentially for Google, what's more important than let's say like a product page information, it's going to be authority for your site and for your pages. And a big contributor to that is actually content. So like for my websites, they rank very high on content. So look for the issues that look at your type of product. What are customers looking for? What information are they interested in about your product? What problems do they have that cause them to want to search for a product that you have? And what are the solutions? And then create lots of content around that. Because content is king when it comes to Google SEO. And if you can do that well, like literally, like for important search terms like customers search for blah, 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 you could occupy like position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the top of Google search. And then, of course, the other thing is to look into like Google Shopping, so that you show up on there. And then you can, the moment you have a website, your own e-com store, then go also concurrently set up like your Facebook page, your Instagram account, blah, 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 other social media platform accounts, right? So then every content piece that you do, in a sense, just share it on all the multiple platforms. So that then drives a giant funnel back to your website. And creates like a whole thing like, oh, yeah, you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on whatever, TikTok, etc. Yep, hope that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. It totally makes sense. So what about the trust factor? I mean, when people buy online from a marketplace like Amazon or Walmart, they have there's a trust factor. But when they buy from, let's say a third-party website that they don't know, who this company is, whether the product will be delivered at all, do you think that's still sort of a factor in affecting people's, shopping habits as such? Or do you think there's sort of, it's changing, the mindset is changing and people now trust anything that is, sold online or in general online e-commerce websites?
I think it's changing, but there will still be people who like, okay, what's this like random website? No idea whether it's shady, dodgy, or whatever, random scammer. So I think if you offer some payment options, like although I have Stripe on my website, for example, I still offer PayPal. Most people will just put in their credit card details onto Stripe, I think like 80% probably. But there will still be some people who prefer to use PayPal, or I also see people using Apple Pay. So by having some of these other payment options, it creates like people are more comfortable to use those because there's some like recourse in terms of buyer protection, etc. So that's one. The other thing, for example, right, we like to like, for example, our family, we often like go look for places to eat. And so I'll do like a search on Google Maps, let's say. And we often look for reviews, right? Like, oh, look, this place has like a 4.8 star for XYZ kind of food. So let's go try it out tonight or something. So build up your customer review base, and that can happen with a Facebook page. For example, when I look for products and services, I often will go search for them on Facebook as well. And one of the things as a buyer that I do is I look for their Google reviews, and I look for their Facebook page reviews. And the thing that turns me off is when a seller or a brand turns off the review function on their Facebook page. To me, the signal that tells me these guys probably have a ton of negative reviews to the point that they've turned it off. So I'm not gonna like try anything from them. So my in terms of being legit, I always say the foundation is sell good quality products and provide excellent customer service. And then, especially if you have your own brand, and then that will build generally positive reviews, hopefully. Sometimes you get like weird customers. Like I've experienced that before. Love your product, excellent, 1 star. I'm like, what?
That happens on Amazon too all the time, right?
But yeah, if you just do that, focus on the fundamentals, I think you'll build something that will be there for the long haul.
I was just going to add one additional thing is that, the professional looking site is going to help you as well. So you do want to have a quality product. I tell people that you need to acquire all of the social media assets, every single one of them. So when he's talking about Facebook, I'm like, go make sure you have Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, like all. So then that way, because it's free to get them all, okay? So make sure whatever you name it, that, you name it a good name so that you do have the ability to be found or something that people might be searching for. Make sure you did a good job with the search terms, which is the long tail keywords. Definitely do that. But make sure you have a site that looks credible. If it looks janky, people are not going to buy from that. For sure. Reviews are helpful, for sure. That's going to help you. And then the other thing is sometimes, as you're starting, if you're just starting, I tell people like if you run promotions, if you run some type of coupons, and you're asking once you ship the item to the customer, say, I'll give you 50%, I'll give you 5% off, 10% off, whatever, if you give me a customer review. Start the process of trying to get some of those reviews, so that way, as new customers come and visit your site, at least you start to build some customer reviews. People may give you, social proof. They may give it to you naturally and organically, but if not, you can offer your first 20 customers, first 50 customers, something to get those reviews, and that's going to help you increase your credibility on your site. And there's other backlink generators that you can do to help push your link out for your store, whatever you're building. So then that way, again, that can help you to get more traffic, help you be found in the search engines as well.
Right. Totally makes sense. Well, we're almost at the hour mark here now, so I think we can start wrapping up. And great information, Jason, Nicole, Michal, and all you guys watching now. You have so much information for your omni-channel e-commerce strategy. There's so many different marketplaces we talked about today: Walmart, Facebook Marketplace, Amazon, Shopify. So you need to be looking at all of these different marketplaces and make sure that you are diversifying your e-commerce business. So as we wrap up, I want to ask you guys one question. What sort of advice do you have for sellers or brands with regards to their omni-channel e-commerce strategy as they are implementing this strategy? What are some of the things that they need to really keep in mind? Jason, do you want to start first?
Okay, I think if you're a small team or solopreneur type person, then my advice would be focus on building one channel at a time. So set it up, get it so that it's running almost on autopilot, and then you add on the next piece. Because if you're gonna try to do like Walmart, Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, and build your own website all at one go, and you're doing it yourself, nothing's gonna be very good.
That is great advice. Thanks for that, Jason. Michal, what about you?
All right, sorry, I might have some kids in the background. So yeah, very similar to Jason. I always say to everybody, add more channels, make sure you add in the right one, because you need to really know what you're selling. You need to know which channel is the best fit for you and focus on it and be expert on it before you move on to the next channel. Just do it right and don't wait. It's really, take action. I think really making a plan and taking action. I see people overthinking and scary. Oh, Walmart, everybody says glitchy. So now they're like, oh no, we don't wanna. No, it's fine. You need to take the time and learn and go through. It's gonna be maybe challenging and difficult, but that's okay, because the success will come after that. So just take action.
Exactly. That is great advice, Michal, as well. And guys, if you want to get in touch with Michal, reach out to her at this email address, michal@sellingonwalmart.com. And you can also get more information on her website, sellingonwalmart.com. And I also should add, for Jason, in case you want to get in touch with him, it's jasontayonline.com. That's where you can get more information about Jason's Amazon training that he does every month. Well, almost every month. Okay, Nicole, what about you? Yeah, sorry, Jason, what were you saying?
I was going to say you haven't asked Nicole.
Yeah, so Nicole, yeah.
My advice is, if you're just getting started, give yourself at least a minimum of 3 months before you just throw in the towel. You have to allow yourself a boatload of grace and mercy as you go through the process of learning it. So give yourself at least 3 months. Spend the first month just kind of immersing yourself in the platform. Make the mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the faster you'll get better at it. The goal is not to make mistakes so your account gets shut down, but you're make the mistakes of, okay, I found some products and maybe they weren't the best products to be selling, so they didn't move. Okay, I got to get better at sourcing. Figure out where you need to get better. It's about peeling the onion on the process. So maybe your thing is managing your time. Maybe you're horrible at your time, so build yourself a schedule. But you'll start to discover in that first 30 days, what is the thing that I really suck at that I got to get better at by month 2. So maybe month 1, you're really good at finding good products for a good profit, but you really suck at time management. So in month 2, you focus on that. And then month 3, you build on it. So by the end of 3 months, you will have strengthened or mastered some of the skills that you need to be successful on that platform. And so in the month 4, get your business processes documented so that way you can find the opportunities to outsource to somebody else, maybe hire a VA to do some work for you, do some research, outsource to a prep center for some of your stuff, and then begin the process in month 5, bringing on another platform. But give yourself the opportunity the first 3 months, just kind of stumble forward and start to tweak what you're doing and improve as you go along. So by the time you're done with 3 months, you've really kind of improved significantly all the big pieces of running your own store.
Right, that's great advice. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Okay, great. And I also want to, real quick. So if you want to get in touch with Nicole, this is her email address, ecomsellersummit@gmail.com. And of course, you can also get more information about her services at Ecom Sellers Academy and ecomsellerssummit.com. Also, I want to remind everyone you can sign up for the upcoming Global Sources Virtual Summit at this URL, globalsources.com/summit. It's coming up next week, April 27th. We're starting. It's a 3-day summit. It's going to be held live and streamed free on all of the Global Sources social media channels. So check the summit out and sign up for the summit. Okay, Jason, Michal, Nicole, thank you so much for your time today. It was a great conversation, and I'm sure our audiences got a lot of good tips and advice from you guys. So we will see you around. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.